Okay, hear me out. Animal racism. If you've been chilling around the www or the web what, then you might have heard about this little show called Beastars, originally written and illustrated by Paru Itagaki and brought to your lovely eyes in motion by Studio Orange and Netflix. And if you have, then you might know that it is a story where everyone is an animal. The entire world is made out of animals, I'm an animal, even you, the reader, are an animal, or rather a fruit because you're a cucumber. And it's often this aspect of the series that is both a point of intrigue and aversion. So there are these animals, and they're going to school, and one of them has a gun, and oh my god, are they fucking ew! This isn't Christian. Well, let's talk about this for a second, because I happen to like this manga and its anime quite a bit. In fact, I make it a point to put all my manga volumes of it right next to Shakespeare, so you know we're doing some real literature up here. Enough foreplay. Why is Beastars so good? Well, Jeremiah, thanks you for asking, as that's exactly what I would like to talk about. Beastars is what I like to call a series that has a concept and executed so well I could come, or Aztec for short. That's not really short, but anyway. The concept in question is, what if society were completely made up of anthropomorphic animals? Now I know what you're thinking, well, isn't this some of that furry shit? Well, no. Okay, maybe, but that's beside the point. The point is that this idea of animals as humans isn't just for aesthetics or fetishism, but rather a genuine element of writing that Itagaki fully commits to. You obviously have the usual shit, like how each animal retains some of their characteristic traits, dogs are loyal and smart, rabbits fuck like crazy, lions are authority-seeking aficionados, etc, etc, etc. But guess what, Mother Ducker? These characteristics have realistic consequences. Lions, in their pursuit of power and authority, not only often fall into organized crime or crook politics, but also suffer from the deeply chauvinistic and toxic image they have to uphold out of pride, with more mild-mannered individuals being told to man up and act like a lion. Can't relate at all. No, dog, sorry, never heard anything like that in real life. Or the bunny's incessant reproduction, short lifespan and often promiscuous lifestyle leads to societal prejudice and a low attribution of value to their lives, while dogs wonder about if their feelings of authority are genuine or just genetic, and I think you get the idea. Society is a lie, my dude. But more than that, society is an intertwining carpet of expectations, prejudices, and labels, and Beastars goes out of its way to portray and explore the consequences of those elements and how the various participants of its society suffer from them. Herbivores and carnivores are two societal groups that have, historically, had their issues, and it is this rocky history, together with their natural opposition, that leads to tensions within society, tensions which are tentatively eased by concessions, which themselves, however, cause more consequences. This is a very nuanced depiction of separation, because herbivores and carnivores try their best to live together and coexist. But obviously, there are natural issues that arise from that. For example, to make up for the immense difference in physical strength between the various animals, large carnivores like bears are forced to take muscle reduction pills, which unfortunately carry side effects like intense migraines and pains, eating away at the individual's mental state and daily life quality. Meanwhile, rules are enforced for interspecies relationships, taking into consideration criminal records of carnivores, size differences, and toxicity. All rules that make sense to make sure that nothing breaks. But that, however, only leads to species avoiding these relationships altogether and sticking to their own kind, reinforcing separation and xenophobia. In short, the inherent biological differences and their effects clash and combine with the personalities and traits of the individual to create a system in which most people are not outright boned, but living in conditions that end up making them incredibly unhappy. And no character exemplifies this concept better than our own canine protagonist, Legosi the Grey Wolf. Grey Wolves are the alphas of the Canidae, being big and strong and leadershipy and just generally being badasses. However, as carnivores, they are also feared for their predatorial instincts, as, despite the superficial harmonious society, a general worry about carnivores returning to their predatory ways persists, reinforced by the occasional predation crimes, where carnivores happen to eat herbivores, and it's a big deal. And Legoshi has to face all these expectations and does so with quite a bit of trouble, as he himself is a mostly mild and kind, quiet and shy individual. However, as he begins interacting with the White Rabbit Haru, he begins realizing that he does indeed still bear the weight of being a carnivore, as many of his feelings begin expressing themselves in violent, aggressive, and yes, predatory ways. He wants to fuck, but he also wants to love, but he also wants to eat. And these aspects of himself, coupled with society's view of him, throw him into a long and arduous identity crisis. Legoshi does not want to hurt anyone, at least not consciously. But a lot of his tendencies, a lot of his feelings, and a lot of his immediate instincts are aggressive. They are violent. They are predatory. As he embarks on a journey to solve the mysterious murder of one of his classmates, he learns more about how society works and the insidious systems and underbellies that allow it to, quote, function, and in turn, his story increasingly becomes a constant back and forth between what he wants to be and what the world sees him as. The central question that Beastars presents and that Legoshi elaborates on is the idea of, can we overcome what we were born with? Can we overcome societal prejudice to rise up above it and become the people we want to be? What is self-identity? What are we? And is that what we are and what we perceive ourselves as bound by an outside extrinsic force like society? And the thing that's amazing about this is that Beastars takes this idea of animals as humans and elaborates on it so consistently with its world and its characters that it actually ends up becoming an incredibly ambiguous and incredibly compelling story to follow, because now you have all these different characters, people like Legoshi, Louis, Haru, all people who have very different sets of expectations put on them and very different ways of coping and dealing with them. And because of that, you get this multiplicity of meaning within this one concept alone. With the simple idea of, hey, what if everyone was an actual furry? This story goes into absolute gigabrain territory. And it is within that territory that all the different interpretations for what is actually happening can come up. Is this the obvious allegory to racism that it seems as? Is this just Zootopia but done properly? Maybe, you can definitely make that case. Or is this some sort of big metaphor for sexual expression and sexual insecurity, as shown by Legoshi's continuous challenge of coming to terms that his sexual desire is very much connected to his desire to kill and consume? Perhaps you could definitely make that argument, and it is that lends Beastars its depth. It has been said by people way smarter than me and way older than me that ambiguity is the lifeblood of literature, because only through ambiguity do we get this multiplicity of interpretation and meaning, and Beastars revels in that. As I already mentioned, there are so many moving elements that all just stem from this one concept being executed consistently across all characters and across the entire built world. And because of that, it is an incredibly rewarding story to not just read, but to reread and analyze and dive into. And it is these things that I, Mr. Ocean Man, love about Beastars above all else. Don't get me wrong, the series has loads going for it, from amazing characters by themselves to a great art style, both in the anime and the manga. Don't let the 3D fool you, it's actually fantastic, to a bopping soundtrack in the anime. But what really gets me about the series is the way Itagaki constructs a society filled with inequality and false security, half measures and full miseries, and then lets her characters naturally work through the adversities that society presents. I know this video isn't very meaty in terms of actual revelatory statements. I am in fact not your father, but I just really want everyone to experience this fantastic story, and I really didn't want to spoil too much. This is something everyone should read and watch because it just is such a good introduction to literary analysis by itself, and it is also a fantastic fucking story. If you are a sucker for good world building, if you like titties and hate society, you should 100% give Beastars a shot. You won't regret it. Read the manga, watch the anime, then read the manga again, then go to the zoo and pet the flamingo. Unless that's illegal where you live, in that case, pet your family. Good night.